Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
As part of a small line of pieces we're doing that are kind of pin-up-y type shots where they're a little bit rougher and simpler with just a portrait of a figure, no background, I want to do something to complement the piece I did earlier with Wonder Woman. And Starfire is another favorite of mine from DC, and in particular the way she was designed by George Perez, the way she appeared for, I want to say, the first 20 years of her existence before she was changed by a cartoon version that kind of took away a lot of the alluring qualities to her that were in her initial DNA. So there's a very distinctive face, hairstyle, and vibe from her when she was first created in 1980, and I wanted to connect with that.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. Apologies for being late. That was on me. Technical difficulty, up and running now, and very happy to welcome the crew behind a new OGN called Geezer. And everyone's appropriately, oh, there you go. That's what it's going to look like. Look at that. Will's already showing us the fantastic look of Geezer in his shirt, and Phillip's got his Geezer shirt, and Shelly Bond is there, the editor. Good to see everybody. Welcome to the show. What's that?
Yeah, sorry, the
Shelly's not in a Geezer shirt.
T-shirts.
I refuse to wear a T-shirt that's not a tiny tee, custom fit ringer tee. So I wore an original Elastica shirt just to be different.
That's outstanding. Oh my God. William Potter, it's great to meet you, and thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you very much from the UK.
Indeed. Wow, man.
But every time's tea time in the UK.
Well, absolutely. I respect that. No question. Shame on me. I didn't pour some tea. I've got much like the Bonds, I've got my Coke Zero here. But and of course, Will, you're from the great pop band Cud, and it's really exciting to talk to you because I've enjoyed your music, man. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Really?
The Bonds I talk to all the time.
That's nice to hear, seeing as we played a minimal number of gigs in the US and minimal following over there. But that's nice.
Shelly
too.
Yeah, we thought we were the only two.
I went to Spotify and I started listening and everything, and I'm like, oh, this stuff is great. So yeah, man, it's terrific. All right, so Geezer, and I'll have the image up shortly. Part of my technical difficulties, but while I'm gathering the images from Geezer, tell us jump ball, but how did this thing come about? How did this get started?
Well, it started due to a fan in LA who was really keen on Britpop and encouraged me to pitch an idea set in that world. So with my experiences in Cud, we were in the kind of cusp of Britpop. We carried on till about 1995. So we crossed paths with Blur and Pulp and other bands like that, but we were not part of what became the Britpop scene. But our experiences and a lot of research into the period, loads of biographies and things like that, led me to pitch the idea of a band that existed in that period, but never really succeeded. So you've got a character called Martin Bland, who's the lead singer, who's like a cipher for all of the major characters in Britpop. He has a lot of their traits. He's around at all of these same events, but never quite make it through luck or ability.
Okay, we had a little trouble hearing you there. I don't know, Bonds, if you were able to hear him.
Yeah, I think that is that going to be our fault because of our.
No, I don't think so. No. I'm sorry. Well, you were kind of clipped when you were talking. Can we try your sound again?
Yeah, can you hear me now? How is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can hear me through your. I can run.
Is there an echo? Is there an echo on your end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here, let me put my earbud in, and maybe that'll cancel that out.
Let me turn the volume down a little bit here.
Certainly. And yeah, I'm sorry. Again, we'll try and we'll clean all this up in post.
Yeah, it doesn't help me being in a cave here.
No worries, man. Yeah, I've got my earbud in now. So I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to make you tell the story again because I'm sorry you were clipping there. So we
No,
didn't
that's no problem. Hopefully, I can tell it better than the first time.
That's better.
Okay, basically, Geezer was inspired by Shelly. As a big original Britpop fan, the T-shirt gives it away. And I pitched an idea set in that world of Britpop that I'd experienced to some extent in my band Cud. We were around till about '95, so we crossed paths with a lot of the names from Britpop, Blur and Pub, for example. But we were never part of what became that Britpop scene. Yet we lived a similar kind of experience with the music business, and through a bit of research, reading all the biographies, I was able to drop a made-up band into that world, so that the band, in a way, had a similar path to Cud, and that they got some attention, but were never really accepted big and never became huge stars. So they're like the also-rans of Britpop, who were around at the same time, hung out in the same places that everybody else did, had a lot of the same experiences, but didn't quite make it big through either bad luck or a lack of ability.
Or both.
Cud didn't suffer from a lack of ability. I make that clear.
Yes, I know. I needle drop through, and I've heard many of the songs, and it's like, no, man, you guys were great. It reminded me of.
I think.
Say again.
We were probably from the wrong time.
It's just so easy to just like miss something just by a couple of weeks, even. Like you sort of you'd like release the wrong song at the wrong time, and somebody else comes out with something else, and it's like before you know it, like the style has changed and tastes change.
Well, certainly in the case
at that time, I think at that time in particular, it was like.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Sorry, it's a little delay. So,
yeah.
Sorry. In the case of Cud, our record company chose to market us in a transatlantic way. So, rather than choose songs that might have appealed to a Britpop audience, they were releasing ballads and heavy rock kind of songs. So, it gave off mixed messages about what we were like, and we were never that kind of. We never Britpop, really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I again, sampling your music and stuff. I'm looking at my list right now. I really liked Robinson Crusoe. I liked Haywire, and let me see. I'm going through here. What's that?
How about the cover to Lola?
What's the name of these songs? Yeah, check them out. Yeah.
I think the cover to Lola blew me away.
There you go.
Anyway, I would say that Geezer isn't in any way some kind of revenge trip for Cud's failure to be accepted by the Britpop scene.
Wait a minute. That's why I thought we were doing it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Would
rewriting history.
I mean, well, you're telling rock and roll songs in this graphic novel, well, series, I should say. And again, I'm sorry, I thought I already had it up there. I'm going to put up cover 1 and cover 2 in a moment. It's going to block Will, might block part of Shelly. Oh, there we go. It's just me and Phillip. But there you go. There's cover 1, and obviously shaped like a 45, a classic 45.
Yes.
So that's cool.
Oh, here's a 45 now.
Look,
Yes.
this is the latest
There you
Cud single.
So that's the size of the book. Actually, like it's like these things that we did for when we were doing the ink stuff.
Yes.
So that's the size of the comic book, but with a 20. How many pages are in the first issue?
36.
40.
40 because, right?
Yeah, we just
Our
expanded.
stretch goal. We hit the first stretch goal.
Mhm.
Thanks to our amazing Kickstarter backers. So thank you, Kickstarter backers. You're amazing. What you're going to get is something that's this size. This was actually our mini comic that Will gave out at Thought Bubble a few months ago. We wanted people to just see what we were crafting behind their backs.
Yeah.
But this is the actual size of the comic. It's right now we're kickstarting for 1 issue. Again, 40 pages, black and white. Philip's doing all the sequential art, which I have to say, not that I'm biased, but I think this is Philip's best work of his career.
You do always say that.
I'm not being paid to say that either. Although
It's,
I might not be allowed out of the house.
It's a lot of fun. It is. It's a lot of fun to like sort of revisit all the old pubs and the haunts. Not that I was that close to that scene, but yeah, like going back and sort of researching and finding sort of like what a certain street might have looked like at a certain time, and then sort of sometimes pump it up a bit to Britpop it, and pubs full of passers-by from that era.
I'm valid to stick out and say I have actually been doing the proper research and going into those pubs. Yeah, and tasting the cider.
I was just gonna say he's a cider enthusiast. So
so am I.
Vicarious,
Well, that's great, man. That's awesome. I love cider too. That's my choice.
This is British cider. British cider with alcohol, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
No, that's terrific, man. And I'm a pedestrian hard cider drinker, but that is my preference. And I'm always happy to discover new brands and stuff. So that's good to know. Very cool. And as Shelly knows, before I got into the nerd culture and a long career in sports broadcasting, my first years in radio were dealing with a lot of the new wave scene and certainly the 90s and a lot of 90s pop here in Chicago.
I thought you were going to say that before you got into the nerd scene and comics, you were a hard cider drinker 24 hours a day.
No. But my love for British pop goes back to the pop rock years of Dave Edmunds and Nick Lowe and early Elvis Costello and all of that. And certainly the new wave years as well, and into the 90s. So you had me at hello with this project. And truly, when Shelly was talking about your band, I'm like, oh, I want to start hearing their songs. It's pretty cool. So I love this idea. Is this something that, would you take it so far as to make a Geezer conceptual album or whatever?
Now this is an interesting thing, because I have been encouraging Martin to use Twitter over the last few months, and he has had a lot of queries about him coming back, bringing Geezer back and playing some shows, which currently is a bit difficult in that he's had a falling out with the original members of the band. So he needs surprise. It's no surprise if you read the continuing story, which no spoilers. I have had help though in making producing some Geezer tunes from the guitarist in Cud. And I thank Mike Dunphy for providing the theme tune for the video that's on the Kickstarter page. I'm trying to remember the name of the song. He called it Pasty Shack. That's what he called it. Because he said it was inspired by Tracy Jacks from Blur, so he called it Pasty Shack. I don't know why.
But it's amazing. When he sent it to us, it was like we played it, and it was just like
Perfect.
that is just like so Britpop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I say that as someone who doesn't really agree that Britpop ever had a particular style of music, but more of a look.
Yeah, I tease the rest of that Giza is going to become much bigger than Carden, that we will have to change our kind of style and our music to play as a Giza tribute band.
I don't know. Do you guys want? Should I play the video? I could play it.
Go ahead.
On the thing. It's up to you
Yeah.
guys.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Should we do it?
Yeah.
Can we dance?
Go ahead, Shell. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say we must give Will some credit because he actually did the editing of the video. We just approved it. We had last refusal, and we were like, "No, it's good. Let's do it."
He did a great job considering he was working with like 2 pieces of artwork and a logo, basically.
Exactly.
What's that say?
That's just in case people want to check out the Kickstarter.
Very cool. Hold on. Here we go. We're gonna put up the Kickstarter page, and from there play the video. Hang on. Here we go. My controls are moving a little slow, but we'll get there. There we go. And here we go, everybody. Here's the video for Giza.
Dancing already.
Boom. All right. Very cool. Loved it.
Oh, stop dancing. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. I couldn't see you dancing. The screen was filled with the video, so I'll take your word for it. That's fantastic. You were in the little square next to the video and everything. No, I loved it, man. That's awesome. And so, Will, is this like your first narrative writing, storytelling wise?
No. As Phillip will tell you, we shared space in Deadline comic in the 90s.
Yeah, Will and I go back many years. When Deadline started out, when I had my first work with Hewlett and Martin, the whole Tank Girl thing came out of there. And Will was part of that magazine as well. Will used to do a couple of strips. There was one, Nomo the Fish Girl.
Mm-hmm.
And what else?
No, I think it was just Nomo. And then it got sacked.
Just Nomo. So Will was writing and drawing back. Yeah, I mean, I guess even before that. I can't imagine Nomo the Fish Girl was your debut work.
No, I was doing comics. There is a comic strip of Cud in our second album, which I wrote and drew with terrible likenesses of the band. And after Nomo, I went on to do a lot of more licensed character stuff. I did some strips for like Cindy, which is like the British Barbie, Action Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But mostly I ended up doing writing and editorial until I ended up getting in touch with Shelly about Femme Magnifique, which you must know about. And as a result, I ended up working with Phillip on a comic strip about Cud, which I have some artwork here.
Hello.
Oh, boom, stand by. There we go.
This is Philip's lovely artwork from Rich and Strange. In this story, I'm an old fella with the singer locked away in an old folks' home, yearning for the revival of the band. While the singers are convinced that we're backstage, I believe is a conspiracy theory to keep us from reforming, and it proves I'm correct. And it was a plot by our guitarist, who is an evildoer in the comic strip.
But not in real life.
No, not in real life. He's a real cutie in real life.
We love Mike.
Anyway, this led on.
fantastic.
I've carried on working with Phillip and Shelly, mostly in an editorial manner, and then pitched Geezer, and it's been bubbling away for a while, and finally we launched it, and it's going to be for real, which is fantastic.
That's awesome. You shared the ash can with me, and I really enjoyed it. 5 issues. How's this story going to play out? Yeah, there's the ash can. Shelly's got it in her hands there. Well,
yeah. Well, there are more than one issue. There are several issues written, and obviously we'd see how it goes with this and the Kickstarter campaign. I would love it if we get to tell the continued story of for Martin and his band, because there are some scenes that I can't wait to see Phillip realize. I just hope that there's enough backing and that Phillip finds the time to do it, and you'll see it through to completion. But for now,
yes.
there's one issue, and you can read it as a whole and enjoy it, and hopefully we'll get a lot of people saying, please, please, please give us more. And
go ahead,
we're
Phillip.
anyway. We're going to do it anyway, and if anybody wants it.
Well, we're having so much fun.
Yeah.
But I do think that the key right now with a project like this one is just really thinking about it as self-contained. And the price is right. We're really, we love Kickstarter because we know our operating costs, and we really want as many people to back us as possible. So we know that we can't, we're not doing a hardcover right now. We're just doing a 40-page saddle stitched comic, and we can price it. It's still going to look amazing. I mean, using this as a sample, this is a piece of a comic that Phillip published of many of his Inktober drawings, and I love his black and white line art so much. And I was really happy when he said that he thought it would be cool to do his next project in black and white. Of course, the cover is going to be color, but you don't see as much black and white these days. I think people are doing what they always do and over-coloring. And I hope that Geezer stands out because it looks so smashing in black and white.
Yes, so speaks our editor.
I agree. Phillip's work is so beautiful in monotone. I mean, I'll compare it to Love and Rockets in that kind of lovely balance of art and clear line work, and also the subject matter.
Well,
You've got people just living their lives, drinking in pubs, going for full English breakfast, playing in bands, rehearsing. It's not. Okay, there are some punch ups as well, but there are no.
It's not a punch up. If you read a Marvel comic, a punch up is like an entire issue of punching and talking and punching and talking. This is like one panel and done.
Well, but to be head-butted by Britpop royalty, I mean that to me is Martin's claim to fame.
Well, I'll say, as someone that grew up on, again, 80s new wave and stuff like that, hand in hand with that was all the black and white comics that were coming out back then. And I do think that I agree. And also, I love, Phillip, that you've been working in both the album size and the single size in that kind of perfect square.
It wanted it. It's a music comic. I think.
Yeah.
Can we say sort of that? Really, I'd love to see sort of one day, a full size 12-inch size Geezer, reprint the whole thing.
Oh, that's fun. Sure.
you know, with like real high resolution, and so people can really see what the art looks like.
Yeah,
I'd love to do that.
we should definitely re-release a 180 gram vinyl.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And it can,
Yes.
it can be translucent too.
Double-
Remastered.
Half-speed
Completely
master.
remastered.
Printed on vellum.
Half-speed
Yeah.
masters, absolutely, man. Yeah, I need that Japanese printing of Geezer.
Yeah.
Again, I'm thinking of the
But it'd be
old
great to see
vinyl
sort of-
stores
to
that I used to go
see
to
sort
and
of
stuff.
all the little bits of all the tiny little bits that go on in the background in the art is what I'd love to see. I love to see, you know, when it's IDW do the big sort of
They're they're
call
oversized
it?
masters editions.
the masters editions. Is that what they're called?
No, I just made that up. But I
Artist
think everybody
edition.
knows what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
the artist
you know,
edition,
to
sure.
see
The artist edition.
the artist edition. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
To see the sort of the actual art, same size as the artist drew it, is really cool.
I
So
will
I'd love to
say
do something
here
like that.
about Philip's art on this. He spends a lot of time with the detail, because there are a lot of Britpop Easter eggs in this, and there are lots of
Absolutely.
posters and flyers in the background, record sleeves to spot. So anybody who knows, who cares about the period, is going to look like working out. Yes, I forgot about that record. You know, I
100%.
recognize the corner of that sleeve. What is that?
And that's down to Will, by the way. I think we have to give Will some props. Will has been crafting this for like the past 2 years, I want to say. And he has created a timeline of events that's masterful. I'm just along for the ride. Once in a while, I'll bring out the red pen. But Will has really put his heart and soul and his bass, his bouncing bass line into it.
It's pretty amazing that Will has sort of got this like chronology of the entire 90s, I guess, and sort of like dropped in this this band sort of just in the perfect places to really sort of experience things from sort of an outsider's viewpoint, really.
Thank you. And it is true. Yeah, I did spend a lot of time going through the history, going through what Suede were doing, what Blur were doing, what Pulp and Oasis were doing through these various years, and then tried to fit the action and the story of Geezer into this, so they could collide at key moments, and also I've even worked out the record release date. So they're on a Monday, that they're going to be touring in support of it for the month that follows. So they might be on TV this time. All these details, hopefully it'll pay off, and you know, they've created a kind of believable world in which this character exists. Plus, Philip is drawing Martin in his various guises, where his haircut changes, his style of clothes change, where here he is, you know, in probably the kind of key Britpop. He's dressed a bit like Johnny
that's
Depp.
like prime Britpop there.
Yeah, this is like the kind of menswear kind of style.
Yeah,
kind of an adamant coat.
The jacket's made a few sort of like that's turned up a few times in British music. I mean, it was like it was used in the 60s, wasn't it? And pinks and small faces.
No question.
They were a penny in Camden Market. You could buy them for a tenner in Camden Market. And actually, it was quite funny when we shared that image that Johnny Dean from Menswear spotted it and said, "Nice jacket," you know.
Because basically it was his jacket. It was like, you know, this was like, you know, Johnny Dean in 1993 or so or whatever wore that jacket, and so it sort of turns up in the story, really. So it really is his jacket.
I think it must be said, man, because Will has been so great about you know, researching and connecting up with so many current and former Britpop stars. We were lucky to get Rick Witter of Shed 7 to give us his cold opinion on Martin Bland, and it wasn't pretty. and we were so grateful to have it. We used the quote on some of our promotional items, and so this is just a shout out to Rick Witter for just being so cool, and for saying, quote, bland by name and bland by nature. I've never heard such utter drivel. So Rick Witter, you're the best. Thank you for giving us that full quote. I don't disagree with you. I think Martin is a pain in the butt. I'm a fan of Jess. Jess, to me, is the hero of the story. Jess is the best. And, female drummer, come on, we need more of them.
Absolutely.
Rick Witter there was great. One of the ways I thought of Geezer was like the Ruttles, if you're familiar with the Ruttles.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously, Saturday Night Live and
there you go.
Yes, Eric Idle did their kind of parody of the Beatles. But they also had people like Paul Simon and Mick Jagger interviewed, remembering how awful the Ruttles were and when they were stealing their songs. So this is how I approached Rick Witter, and I said, imagine that this band, around at the same time, and they were a real annoyance. And you didn't really like them, and they maybe they ripped you off. So can you give me a quote from that period? Like, they really existed in your world. How annoying were they?
Fantastic. Absolutely, man. No,
Spinal Tap and Britpop stars to the same.
Oh, you're gonna get more?
I hope
That's
so.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I hope so.
If you continue, can, man.
Yeah, I hope it's a tradition. Every issue we get another Britpop star to recall their collision with Geezer and merit them.
This is great. I can relate to this because essentially, I'm sure if you guys had a bigger budget, you might want to do it in a Ruddle-esque kind of video way or whatever. But this is the beauty of comics, that it's great to approach this kind of mockumentary, if you will, in a comic book form. And again, I mean, that's why I was glad to pull up that page before of all the posters and the tickets and stuff like that. I can bring it back up again in a second. But yeah, I mean, it's that's great. Again, it really kind of evokes the period in the best way. So,
yeah, if anyone has a bigger budget and wants to make it into a TV show, then we're open to others.
Absolutely, I'll share a story. There we go. Look at that. Wow, hold on, keep that up there. Boom. Fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely think Brett Anderson and Martin would clash in all the best ways, right? Will, what do you think?
No, they would not get on at all. No. I also like the Brett Anderson only got on with our drummer in Cud. I don't think he liked the rest of the band. Sure. Our drummer was cool and a bit laid back. The rest of us were a bit too cocky, I think, and competitive.
So you are offering a lot of rewards that does kind of have the ephemera that you've created for the concept as well, posters and things like that. Talk about that, Phillip.
Yes, that's just really just like being a real band. Well, essentially, they are a real band, and so
yeah. What do you mean, just like a real band?
Yeah, he's got the T-shirt.
The merchandise that you would expect to find on a tour merchandise stand. So, I know I have a tour merchandise stand when I'm in Cud. So it's T-shirts, it's tea towels. we sell
badges
and badges, all the kind of stuff where you want to show off your allegiance to the band.
Absolutely.
Plus period tour posters.
Yeah.
That from 1994 original. They're quite scarce, but Philip's been able to find them, and
I don't know where we found all those backstage passes.
Oh yeah, those are
all those kind of things for VIP fans.
Well, and that's been a staple of what you. That's been a staple of what you guys at Off Registers have offered, aside from the graphic novels and stuff. Is that?
Yeah, we love doing all the extra bits.
We can't help it.
I mean, I just love doing all the there's like a whole bunch of sort of imaginary bands that sort of were offshoots of Geezer as well, like
Clobber.
The band Clobber were also
They were the rivals.
Kind of like
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, even though the singer was dating Geezer's drummer. And the Pits as well, who were Jess's first band
Right.
before Geezer. What was the name of it was Malarkey, wasn't it? That was Martin's other band. So all these bands have to have logos, and even some of them have multiple logos because they go like if you last sort of 5 years, you can have a new updated logo with our new design team. So
it's expensive, but it's part of the package deal.
So we get to do all the we do all the different logos and the different the record labels as well.
Right, Blimey Records.
They all need different.
I love Blimey's logo.
Yeah.
It reminds. I mean, it's obvious. I'm going to bring it back up. Actually, it reminds me of my love of the IRS logo back in the '80s.
Oh,
when that
right.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it's much more cartoony, and I'll show it. But yeah, that really, I don't know. That's where my brain went. And I'm like, oh, that's great, man. I'd be all over Blimey Records and stuff.
We'll have to see if we can get you a Blimey Records T-shirt. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, I'd love that. God. Yeah, never deal with Blimey Records though. They'll screw you over.
Well, these are fake ones though. They don't. I mean,
well, one thing I want to add, if I may, because Phillip isn't going to talk about it. We still have a few rewards packages left that include a piece of original art. And Phillip has been drawing at the 4x4 size, which is a size. So if you go to Kickstarter right now, you'll see that there are a few left, but it's an incredible package where you get pretty much everything.
From ink. It's a beautiful piece of original art.
It's incredible. I mean,
this is my cave of Phillip here.
Man cave. I like it.
I can't believe he can draw at that size so beautifully.
Yeah, I enjoy drawing little like that.
Well, and I love your love of apes and astronauts, Phillip. I think and the piece that Will even put up kind of shows your love of astronauts and the space helmets and everything. So you must have been watching Thunderbirds just like me.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. That's where I get my love of big sort of machines and stuff from. I love I keep coming back to the old cutaways that there were in the old at least the British magazines. You used to find a huge cutaway of like Thunderbird 2 or something. And anyway, it's like that's an aside.
No, it's your inspiration for your art. I think again.
It is.
I think it's cool.
Yes,
absolutely. So, Will, it's fascinating. Go ahead, Will. Excuse me.
We can do a big cutaway view of the good mixer if you fancy doing that.
Yeah. That sounds easy. Yeah.
Well, it's great to learn about your comic book background beyond this. I had no idea, and it's again, we only get so much here in the States of the British product and stuff. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm a bit niche.
You're in the right show, man. It's a niche show. What are you talking about, man? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Indeed. I think all four of us are niche people.
About people who live in niches, So
yeah, this truly is, I think, a project that defines what off-register press is. We call it a comics and design lab, and it really just showcases our love of music and comics. Of all the things that Phillip and I have in common, including our son, I think our love for music and comics really, says everything about us as a team. So I'm really proud that Geezer is a part of pretty much our debut year. We've had a few projects we've put out through Off Register Press. Geezer really is the creme de la creme, if I may say so.
Yeah, sure.
You may say that, yes.
And it evokes the vibe, Shelly, that reminds me of Vertigo in the early 2000s. And I can't remember the sub-imprint of Vertigo, but didn't Peter Milligan, didn't he have that rock bass thing where the guy was smoking hash and it was causing supernatural things happening and stuff?
Yes, Vertigo Pop.
Vertigo Pop was something
Vertigo Pop, of course.
And I didn't edit that particular book, which was called Vertigo Pop London, because he drew it. It seemed
Phillip,
like it was a
shame on me.
conflict of interest. So
Love that book.
Karen
Yeah.
Berger actually edited the book. The boss got to edit the book. I was
Well,
very
I
jealous.
loved it, Phillip. Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
if I must say, I pitched the entire sub imprint as a line of books. So there was Vertigo Pop Tokyo, which was done by writer
Seth.
John Vankin, and the incredible Seth Fisher, who sadly died so young. And what a tragedy, but what an incredible person and a phenomenal artist. And then we had Vertigo Pop Bangkok, which was also written by John Vankin and drawn by Giuseppe Camoncoli, who was a joy to work with. And then actually eventually did Hellblazer with Peter Milligan when I was allowed to edit it because Phillip wasn't involved. But that wasn't, by the way, that was pretty much something we thought was a good idea. We loved working together, but we just didn't want it, not on something that was like too intense. Like we still worked together on covers and on short projects, but it just seemed like a good idea to not have, you know, something labor intensive interfering with the private life.
Sure. And especially within the corporate structure where maybe somebody, you know, and I mean, Karen was great, but you know, you never know, somebody above you going, yeah, maybe you got to do this, and let Phillip know he can't do X.
Now it doesn't matter.
crap
Now
like
we can
that.
make up our own rules.
Now all we
Right.
do is sleep late, work through the night, and make comics and eat comics 24/7. It's the best.
Atta girl. That's great to hear, man. No, I honestly, and Shell knows, I mean, I was asking, I'm really glad that your audience has responded. And, you know, I mean, we've got a week to go on the Geezer project, and certainly more contributions are welcome, hence this conversation. But no, I'm really glad that that's working, and that, you know, again, you guys are able to make the books you want to make.
Yeah, thank you. We were really lucky. We were funded in less than 48 hours. And I do think it says a lot about Phillip's fans. He's got a terrific audience. They're really loyal. And, you know, I think that this book is going to appeal to the masses because, you know, the 90s were a great time to just to be around comics and music. And if you like either of those things or both of those things, Geezer is your kind of book. Even though this
100%.
guy is annoying, the book is amazing. You will
He's
love
not
it.
annoying. He's hilarious.
He's kind of annoying.
He's lovable. I mean, it's
He is
like,
hilarious.
It's yeah.
No, I'm
The way you
excited, man.
draw him.
Again, I think it fits that Spinal Tap kind of vibe, although it's Britpop instead of heavy metal. You know.
Yeah. There's some of that there as well. Some of the outrageous, the behind the scenes.
I want to take issue with Martin being annoying. Actually, I see the way he acts and acts a bit arrogant as a self-defense mechanism. That he's downtrodden. He's struggling to succeed, and he sees other people he thinks with, you know, equal talent around him getting the breaks. So he's, you know, he feels he's the only person defending himself.
Well, okay, I'll give you that.
Arrogance.
I'll give you that. But the other thing that I think is really unique about Geezer, which is something that you don't expect from a book about a band that almost was, the relationship between Martin and Jess is pretty amazing. She was a mentor to him for a while, and I think their relationship goes through many different stages, and it's rare that you see that in a comic or in a movie or TV show where you've got, you know, he's a year younger than her and he really looks up to her. And unfortunately, you know, she's not that into him in that way, but it doesn't stop him, you know, from trying his best to impress her. And their lives, you know, intersect quite a bit.
I will credit Shelly here for pushing me to boost the relationship between Martin and Jess. It was there, but it was maybe too subtle, as Shelly describes it. And you know, I ended up writing a lot more scenes with them together and apart to make it the kind of meat of the story. So while the whole story of Britpop's happening in the background and the troughs and the highs of the band, there is still this story of Martin and Jess that holds it together, and hopefully that people will care about, whether they support Jess or Martin or just want to see them together. It's Ross and Rachel all over again.
Well, actually, I think that brings up a great point, though. It's like, you want there to be some kind of love triangle, and the classic love triangle of Britpop was Justine Frischman, Brett Anderson, Damon Albarn. I think people always go back to that from the early days of Britpop. Whose ever side you were on, it's a story about music and about culture. So how could there not be at least a friendship, which sometimes is more important than the romance? And I think that that's a really powerful part of this story.
Yes, actually, those relationships that Shelley mentions are an inspiration for the character dynamics going on there. As Phillip mentioned, that Jess, the drummer that Martin adores, ends up going out with the singer of a rival band while she's still playing in Giza. So that causes, frustrations, rivalries, and tensions. Yeah, that is inspired by real events to some extent.
Very cool, man. I'm bringing up the Kickstarter URL for our viewers and our listeners. There it is, kickstarter.com/projects/off-register-press/geezer, or Google search Geezer Kickstarter. It will take you to the page as well. There's just about a week left, and that gives them a real great opportunity to kind of hit any other goals that
we're pulling
are
out
out there.
plugs now.
What's that?
We're adding some more stretch goals.
Yeah.
Yes, there is another stretch goal in. Yep.
And also the add-ons.
Yes.
Are you doing that?
We've been talking about add-ons, Will.
More of these.
Yes.
And ringer shirts in a girl size.
Yeah.
Special request from someone who shall remain nameless.
And of course, you'll be able to order the import edition of Giza, because the real Giza will be printed in the UK, but will be available in the rest of the world. But there will be a US edition as well,
called the London Geezer.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is inspired by, if you're aware, that Suede became London Suede in the US because of
course,
because there was already a band,
and also
Suede.
Charlatans UK. So
yeah,
this is
Charlatans UK,
funny work of British bands. They take a name and then discover there's another band in the States. And Giza also faced that dilemma in future stories. So yeah, the idea of there being a London Giza US version was
we couldn't resist.
Yes.
That's great. That's fantastic. I was just reading about, and I don't remember which American Texas band took the Zombies name, and was and kind of on purpose to be confused with time of the season zombies and everything. And yeah, I was like, wow, that's amazing. I can't remember right now. My head has too many other things in it and stuff.
There's also two Nirvanas, of course, as well, psychedelic Nirvana and a grunge Nirvana. They were both in the US, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Hilarious. Very cool. No, honestly, guys, I'm very excited for this. I think it's a great idea. And again, I was a big fan of Vertigo Pop back in the day, and it certainly evokes that. And shame on me, Philip, for not remembering that you drew that.
Definitely, yeah.
Bring
back more music comics.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, man. No, God, Philip Clark is a musician that dabbled in comics in the early 2000s. Guy I met through Brian Bendis's message board. And it's like, music and comics, man, music and comics. And Matthew Rosenberg is certainly doing that with his current Image series, and doing a lot of not only releasing the comic, but in some specialty stores circumstances, even is issuing 45s that he got bands to agree to make to kind of provide the soundtrack for the comic. And I always pester Dave Gibbons about his wonderful mod series, the originals.
Yes.
And I'm like, Dave, when are you gonna? Yeah, I'm like, when are you gonna put out that playlist of great classic mod music to play when you're reading the originals, man. And also, both of you, Philip and William, I love YouTube. Thank God, post something, someone smart or several people, and they upload these great BBC music documentaries. And I saw one on the Shadows that was just so fantastic. And I mean, I knew about them back in Cliff Richard or whatever, and I knew Apache, but I really didn't know the full band story. And it was just, certainly occupied my 90 minutes sitting down watching it. It was pretty amazing. So can't help it. Love that stuff. And I love the idea that you're kind of mocking music history in a great way with Geezer. So very cool.
It's done out of love. It's not just kind of we're mocking it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Sure.
yeah. It's an affectionate take on the period.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Love
it's
it,
a
man.
love
And
letter,
also-
soaking in perfume, for sure.
Well, and honestly, being part of Chicago radio and in general, and also having a music history background and playing a lot of oldies and working at oldie stations and stuff. I mean, we certainly had our bands like Cud in the Chicago area that were this close to really breaking through nationally, but had their following and stuff here. I mean, bands like from the '60s, the Buckinghams, who did "Don't You Care" and "Kind of a Drag," and oh God, I can't remember the name of the Chicago band that covered Gloria. Oh, the Shadows of Night were in Chicago and covered them and Van Morrison's Gloria, and had a big hit with it here in Chicago and stuff. So yeah,
I think
I get
we're
it.
coming up on a time where a lot of these Britpop bands are celebrating big anniversary albums,
Yeah,
whether it's the 30th anniversary. So we also thought the timing was really right. I mean, it feels like yesterday it was 1994, but it's it's
for
time.
us, yeah,
It's
yeah.
time to go back
Sure.
and join us. Here's
There you go.
once again the URL.
Absolutely, man. No, this is great. Good luck with it, and I really appreciate you guys hanging out and talking about it. And I'm happy to help promote it in its final days. Oh, John Salt, sorry that he's late, but wanted us to know that he's there.
Thanks for coming, John.
John,
There you go.
we're happy to have you join us. We were pretty late to begin with, so thank you for
Indeed.
tuning in.
Absolutely. We'll rewind, and you'll be able to enjoy it, John, and hear the conversation that we just had. But yeah, man, no, this is great. And like I said, it's about a week left, everybody. So make sure you go to kickstarter.com/projects/off-register-press/Geezer. Or again, to simplify, if you do a Google search on Geezer and Kickstarter, I'm sure it'll take you to the front page of the campaign. But that's great, guys. Congratulations. And looking forward to whatever's next from Off Register and subsequent issues of Geezer, William. So hopefully that'll all happen. Thank you very much for talking today, guys.
Thank you, John.
John, thank you so much. Thumbs
Always a
aloft.
pleasure. Always a pleasure. Absolutely.
Cheers.
Everyone, tonight on Word Balloon Live, we're going to tribute the passing of the great Betty White and looking at her early television career, because she was part of live television going back to the start. And we'll celebrate her 100 years. Absolutely. As Shelly is showing some great ephemera from the Geezer Project. But until then, that's going to be tonight at 9:30 Pacific time.